really rewatch this, but I'm more here to defend Latter Day Carpenter more than anything else.
Latter Day Carpenter.
So yeah, that's kind of what I'm here for, because I'm not gonna say I'm a huge fan, but I think everything post In the Mouth of Madness has things to it, because I think In the Mouth of Madness is his last true masterpiece, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's his last truly great film, in my opinion. But I think there's something to gain from everything that he came out with, including The Ward. So,
and here we are, folks. We're live already. Look at that. Will's rolling into this already.
Do we start that while he was rolling? Or did
we start. I ended up starting it. I was just about to enter, and Will was rolling, but I don't mind, because that's how we roll here.
The beginning of his talk up is now lost media.
No.
True. Yep. It's true. Someone's got to find it.
Yeah, no, they'll find it, just because we're live and we're here in the spoiler room, and it's a new month here in the spoiler room. We're totally committed. Yes, that's right. We are looking at films that involve people in mental institutions, aka insane asylums, as some people would call them at the time. And so thank you for venturing down the stairs, pulling up a chair, and popping your favorite drink with us as we talk movie spoilers. And we have a returning voice with us tonight from Parts Unknown. He is back with us. It is Mr. Will Ben Tramer Johnson. I like that. From the Cinephile Hissy Fit, none other than Will Johnson has returned to the spoiler room. Welcome back, Will.
I took a little hiatus from media appearances, but I decided, you know what? We're like I said, I want to defend some Latter Day Carpenter, so I'm here. So
awesome. Glad you're here. And with us as well, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Joe Randazzo is with us. Hello, Joe.
Hey, everyone.
Glad you could make it. And totally committed month. We've got 4 films lined up with our main characters ending up in mental institutions. And tonight, I decided to start off with one Carpenter's last feature.
Yeah, well, I mean, unless he does another one.
I mean, official, screen, out to theaters feature. We're looking at The Ward from 2010 with some familiar faces in it. And Mr. Joe Randazzo, you always do them so well. Well, I can give it to Will. You can tag off to Will.
Yeah, you know what? Give it to Will. I have to look up the character names real quick.
We'll tag off to Will. Will, can you give the synopsis of The Ward?
Oh, yes. Okay, so... well, it's about Amber Heard. Don't remember the character's name. She shits on a bed, and then gets in a lot of trouble for it. Sorry, I was thinking about something else.
That's later. That's later.
That's later. No. Here, to be fair, I'm just going to read the Letterboxd synopsis. Is that fair? Can I just?
Oh, sure.
That?
Go for it. Yeah.
That's actually where I am right now. I'm on Letterboxd.
But here is the. Here's the little one-line tagline. Yes. Only sanity can keep you alive. All right. Kristen, a troubled young woman, is captured by the police after burning down a farmhouse and is locked in the North Bend Psychiatric Hospital. Soon, she begins to suspect that the place has a dark secret at its core, and she's determined to find out what it is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. I remember this. There was a big hype for a number of reasons, because outside of 2 cable shows, Carpenter's last film before this one was Ghosts of Mars, I believe it was.
Yeah, he did. So he did Ghost of Mars, and then he did 2 Masters of Horror.
Yep.
Films. And then this was his next one. So Ghost of Mars was 2001. So he waited about 9 years to.
Thanks God he made this, because I do not want his legacy, his feature film legacy, to end with Ghosts of Mars. God, that movie's awful.
Honestly, I like that movie, man. I think Ghost of Mars is great. I won't get into a Ghost of Mars tirade here, but I was going to say that, and this is what I'm going to talk about with The Ward in terms of and we'll get into it later. But I just kind of feel like Carpenter, true to his roots, just kind of became a B movie Western filmmaker where he just made films pretty, low budget, pretty fast, and just kind of made what he wanted. And I kind of admire Ghost of Mars for that. I think the studio had a lot to do with, you can notice, because the traditional John Carpenter long shot, or long take, was they didn't think audiences could handle it. So there's sequences where somebody's walking in a room and then suddenly they'll cut to 5 seconds later and they're on the other side of the room. So I think the studio really fucked that one up. Personally, I actually kind of enjoy Ghosts of Mars, but I'm in the minority. But
it's amazing. They didn't think audiences could take it. Meanwhile, it's what Carpenter had made at this point for 30 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And up until this point, up until Ghosts of Mars, I don't think there's any John Carpenter movie up until that point that I would say is a legitimately bad movie. Mm-hmm. And still to this day, because even The Ward, I think The Ward has its problems. I don't think it's a bad movie.
No, not at all. And actually, what I was saying before it started is, to me, In the Mouth of Madness is his last true, fantastic, great movie. If you want to call it a masterpiece, whatever. It's my second or third favorite Carpenter after Halloween and maybe They Live. But after that, he did have some ones that people look down on that I kind of feel like an underdog support for. So this is the trajectory after In the Mouth of Madness. It goes Village of the Damned, which I kind of like, actually. Escape from LA, which is just Escape from New York remade. Vampires, Ghosts of Mars, the two, in my opinion, really good Masters of Horror episodes, and then The Ward. So
I love both the Masters of Horror episodes. Cigarette Burns in particular is really, really great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Pro-Life probably since it aired, but I remember liking it at the time.
It has one of, in my opinion, one of the most uncomfortable sequences in it that I've seen in a horror film, which is when Ron Perlman gives a male character an abortion, which I'm still trying to figure out in my head how that even happens. But it's so disturbing to just think about. They don't show it. It's not really gory or anything. So it just leaves it up to your imagination. It's just entirely just disturbing. And yeah.
Well, and the reason I brought up the length of time was because that was kind of the hype around it. You had Ghosts of Mars come out and it didn't do well. And then, he did do the Masters of Horror, which everybody loves, Cigarette Burns. Mm-hmm. But as far as feature film, it'd been a 9-year gap. So when The Ward was coming out, I remember part of the hype was Carpenter is back, and all this. And,
without writing the screenplay, without scoring the film. And it doesn't feel like a Carpenter movie. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like a John Carpenter movie. And I think the first time I saw it, I left thinking, if you wouldn't have told me this was a John Carpenter movie, I wouldn't have known.
That's fair. I think that's totally fair. I think other than some of the time and setting, which I think also is very truly Carpenter, kind of this, I feel like his little group, what are they? The Coupe de Villes that he likes.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have scored this movie, but there's some little old fashioned movie flourishes that I feel, but I totally agree with you. If I didn't know it was him and then the credits rolled and it said directed by John Carpenter, I would have been like, oh, okay. He must have been a director for hire or something.
And that's what this feels like. This feels like Carpenter doing a director for hire job, because normally, and I've read some of his writings. I've read, he likes, when he makes a movie, he likes to put his stamp on everything.
Yeah.
Which is why he likes to put John Carpenter's above the title, because he feels like, no, what I'm making is I'm inputting so much creativity into these movies, so much of what I want, that it is my film. Right. And I absolutely agree with that.
Is
this one just does, again, not shitting on the movie in any way. I found myself really enjoying it a lot more the second time around last night.
When did he start? I'm not totally familiar history-wise. I'm thinking it might be The Thing, but that's when he started using John Carpenter's in the title, right? John Carpenter's The Thing.
Or it might have been Halloween.
Oh, did he do it for Halloween?
I think he did it for. He might have did it for Halloween, I think.
Yeah, but I feel like, because I'm looking back through his filmography right now, I'm pretty sure maybe Memoirs of an Invisible Man did not have the Carpenter. I'm not sure.
I don't know if
But
it did. Yeah,
I'm
that
pretty
might not have
everything
had it.
else.
No, memoirs didn't have John
But everything
Carpenter.
else-
in it.
But that was, I think, literally a director for hire because who's supposed to do it? Was it Ramis? Ramis was supposed to do it and didn't do it, and for some reason they went, "Oh, you know who should do a Harold Ramis film? John Carpenter."
But yeah, I think everyone. Let's go ahead and say Halloween did it first. It doesn't look like someone's watching me or Elva. Oh, you know what? John Carpenter's The Fog. I'm pretty sure it said John Carpenter's The Fog.
Yeah, The Fog
does,
had it. Yeah.
So I think pretty much everyone except maybe Memoirs. I mean, because Body Bags was John Carpenter's Body Bags, right? Or was that, or because there was
Yeah, those John Carpenter's Body Bags, even though Tobe Hooper also directs part of it.
But yeah, I think
Poor Tobe Hooper.
So,
Tobe Hooper in the early 90s, that's another discussion altogether. That's just, wow, man, how the mighty can fall. How far the mighty can fall.
oh yeah,
far.
for sure.
But so getting to the ward, and yeah, I think it's important we set up all of this history in that, because I remember when I watched the ward too, I was like, this is fine.
Yeah.
But it did feel like, Carpenter's special, because I'm a Carpenter fan. I mean, I love They Live. I think They Live's one of his a little bit more of his underrated films in what he does there, with one of the ultimate back alley fights ever in the history of cinema.
Oh yeah.
So when I remember I didn't mind. I thought Ghost of Mars was okay, mostly because I'm a big sci-fi guy. And I dug vampires, and so
I like
quite
vampires
a bit.
also.
I think Vampires is a fun vampire film.
Fun. It's fun. It's you could tell there was definitely some issues because there's like a lot of people, like bigger names, maybe not like huge superstars, that like appeared to be in it and then were suddenly just gone, and you're wondering like what got cut, or did he have a thing with like the one I think of is Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat, Harry. Kerry Tagawa. How do you say his?
I think it is Kerry Tagawa.
Yeah,
Terry Tagawa. Like he's in it, and you're like, oh, sweet, he's in this, and then he's suddenly just gone from the whole movie, and you're like, oh, that's strange. It does feel very kind of chopped up a little bit.
So I enjoyed his films, but so you get this and you watch it, you're like, this is kind of a straight horror film. I mean, it's just kind of it's not bad. I think you guys mentioned as well. This isn't a bad horror film, but if you say John Carpenter made it, you're like, oh, and then you watch it, you're like, really? Because
that was the thing that hit me even watching the trailer. And I rewatched the trailer yesterday earlier on in the day, and I'm like, even the trailer, they name drop Carpenter, but I look at it, I'm like, the shot selection doesn't often look like Carpenter. The mood of it doesn't feel like Carpenter. So yeah, if you would have told me, this was the first feature of a guy who just got out of NYU, made a really impressive student film, so they gave him a low budget feature, I'd be like, you know what? This guy's got some talent, and he's gonna be something great someday. But the tail end of the career of John Carpenter, it feels weird. This is.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean.
Yeah, no. Basically, that's it. It just feels weird that this is in his
filmography.
Yeah, filmography. Yeah.
Well, I think, and maybe because I like his two Masters of Horror, which they hit that spot for me. And I said the same thing about what was it? What was the one that Robert Rodriguez that did the Hypnotic, the one with Ben Affleck? What was that? It was Ben Affleck and that was Robert Rodriguez, right? I think.
Yeah.
But, there's something.
Yeah,
it wasn't. I saw it in the theater. I think I was the only one. But there's something about like 90s era, like Showtime, Outer Limits kind of style, where it's very low budget, but it just has a kind of a special atmosphere for me. And I kind of feel like this one, The Ward, is kind of like his third Masters of Horror episode, more than a movie. And it has like a feel to it that I find comforting, but I can understand, especially, not the tragedy, but the problem when you're such a pristine and what I like to call elegant filmmaker, you know, who makes these really elegant, simple films with these beautiful, you know, long shots and long takes and stuff. Yeah, when you don't have that money behind you or the talent behind the cameras as well, it ends up kind of being just a ho-hum fine thing, but it doesn't live up to the name of the creator behind it, you know, and that's I think that's more the sad part. If you watch this on its own, I think it's fine.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And if you could see that this movie did not have a big budget.
No.
From the very tiny cast, the very underpopulated hospital ward or insane asylum.
Yeah, very, very low staff.
There's nobody around this place. This place is, and at the end we find out there's even fewer people than we thought.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
So this whole place was open just for her.
Yeah,
pretty much. It's like another Carpenter written movie, but like Halloween 2 is the same thing where it's like this hospital is completely abandoned. Like there's nobody in this hospital in Halloween 2. And really, when you think about it, you go back and think about the ending of this movie, you're just like, man, they had a whole staff working here for basically one chick. It's like, and it's a pretty big hospital. I mean, it looks like a pretty big hospital, you know?
It's huge, yeah.
And I think though the sparseness of it also kind of gives it away of what's actually going on, because you know, I remember watching it the first time and going, oh, I bet you. And yeah, folks, this is a spoiler room, so get used. We're gonna spoil the hell out of it. You know, I'm like, are they playing the personality angle? You know, when I was watching it the first time, because I'm just like you guys said, it's a small space. We stay in the same, basically, most of the time, the public room.
Yeah, most of the time the recreation room. Yeah, we're in the same room for most of the movie.
Right, the recreation room. All of the characters who are all female, our main characters in here who have been committed along with our hero, quote unquote, are very similar looking. You know, they've got the different personalities, but you're like, okay, I kind of see where this is going. And don't get me wrong, and it's funny because this cast of young actresses would go on to do some pretty amazing stuff. I mean, I totally forgot Danielle Panabaker was in this. You know, and
Sydney Sweeney is in this.
I was going to say, I don't think any of us knew who Sydney Sweeney was in 2010.
No,
you know that.
You know, but you had that. You know, Amber Heard, obviously the main character. But I mean, you've got a number of faces in here who would go to do bigger things, you know, and they were just getting their cut here, basically.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we opened with Amber Heard's Kristen setting fire to a house in a really awkwardly edited opening too. I mean, this thing is
mid 2000s thing where they like just cut a couple frames out to make everything look jumpy. It's weird. I didn't like it then, and it did not age well.
It's like what they did with I'm staying in the Carpenter universe, but like it's kind of like those two different cuts of Halloween 6, where you had the producer's cut, which was more like a traditional, Michael Myers film, and then you had like the, that late 90s Dimension films, early 2000s thing where they would cut everything hyper, and then they'd do a quick cut of somebody like, flashing a knife or a techno music or something, and then it would cut to the next scene, and you're like, what the hell just happened? I don't even know. This kind of has that the tail end of that too.
Yeah, I mean, so this opening's a bit awkwardly edited to begin with, because at first, if you watch it, you're like, oh wait, because we cut later to a closer up of our main character, and you're like, oh wait, that's the same girl. But it's hard to tell at the beginning that Kristen, who we see, is the same girl as the one who was pulled away from the burning house. Yeah. And so you're like, wait, who's this? You're like, oh, okay. It's not until later when she's talking to her therapist, played by Jared Harris, that you're like, oh, okay, she's the same girl. But for a little while, it's like, wait, who? And then we open with creepy girl killing someone, And I think that's your kind of your red herring kill to throw you off of what's actually going on.
Mhm.
Well, this whole
And I like
movie's a red herring.
well, the whole movie's a red herring, yeah. But I mean, I liked the scenes with the undead girl. I love those parts. Those are more like Carpenter-esque stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I'm wondering, was it Sydney Sweeney under the makeup? Because the facial features, like the bone structure of the face, a couple times, I was like, "Wait a minute, is Sydney the ghost?" I forgot that the ending was going to be revealed that it was it's all in her head, and she's created all these characters with different personalities of hers.
No. Sydney Sweeney plays
Plays her as a little girl.
Plays her as a little girl, yeah.
It does say in the credits that that's Ghost Alice. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, Alice Hudson is a ghost.
Yeah.
It's played by somebody
Kramer.
Yeah, and who's only done 2 movies according to Letterboxd.
Yeah, she was in a movie called The Big Bang. So it was played by someone named Jillian Kramer, who played Ghost Alice.
I mean, maybe it's supposed to be the same character, but maybe not the same actress, or even the same actress. But maybe it is supposed to be Sydney Sweeney at that age playing that person. Maybe.
Yeah, that's hard to say, but so we're doing the multiple personality thing. That's the big hook. Is at the end you come to find out that all of these people we've been following this whole time over the movie has been inside her head,
who have been getting killed off by the ghost, who is also her.
Yes.
And that's where, like, I groan at these all the time, man. I didn't like it when they did it in Secret Window. I didn't like it when they did it in Hide and Seek. And by this point, those were like 2003 movies.
Yeah.
By this point in 2010, I was so tired of it because it happens in so many movies.
Well, it would happen in movies, or TV shows would have an episode where, one of the characters was committed or something, and you're like, oh no, what happened? What do they do to change? And then you find out, nope. Dallas.
I feel like it's a cop out.
It's the whole Dallas JR in the shower type of thing. But in here we get it to where a little girl suffered trauma, and yes, all the characters that we see, including Amber Heard's character, are all different facets of her personality. And
that's where it's a mixed bag, because I think that in itself is a really cool idea, that she split the personalities, and I think that's why the characters are so thin,
right?
They represent just maybe like a characterization of something that she's trying to escape from. But that's also its double-edged sword part of it, because if they had maybe richer takes on those characterizations, and you had, especially in light of the M. Night Shyamalan kind of twist, if she was really having like or even like a Mulholland Drive kind of thing, where she's having these really intense relationships with these other parts of her personality, then it might be worth it, because then you'd kind of feel the death a little bit more. You'd be like, oh wait, that was her trying to not deal with her trauma, and she had this really great connection, and then now it's gone. That it would have been more heartbreaking. So I think it works in some ways and doesn't work in others, if that makes sense. It's the same concept.
No, you're right. These characters end up being one note.
Well, I mean, by design though.
And by design, but again, that's that double-edged sword. One hand,
and that thing at the same time, which is weird. I think it suits the twist that they're one note, but it doesn't help the drama that they're one note, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, I dramatic wise, I didn't have any issue with any of it. It wasn't. It's not really until the twist that I don't like it. I like the movie the whole way through, and then
until the twist, yeah.
I just feel like it's so hackneyed that I felt like I felt angry that this movie just wasted my time at the end of it, because everything leading up to it and forgetting that, I was like, and then it hit me when she goes into the office. I'm like, oh shit, that's right. that's the twist of this movie, because she's looking at the list that Jared Harris had made, and it's like this character is the childlike one, this character is the seductive one, this character Kristen is the strong one, and I'm like, oh god damn it, I just realized what this means.
Yeah.
It bothers me because I just feel like it feels like getting tricked. It's like when Norm Macdonald would go on like Conan O'Brien, and he'd start telling like a really long joke, and then in the end it just builds up to like the stupidest pun you've ever heard, and it's funny in the moment, and you're like, that son of a bitch got me. And that's how I felt with this movie. Except this was a 90-minute movie. This wasn't Norm Macdonald for 2 minutes describing something and then like just hitting you with some bullshit at the end. This was
but what I think is it's that double-edged sword, like Joe, Will was saying, in that I'm the same way. Watching it again, I'm like, this film is fine. I'm kind of into these characters, even though they're one note. I'm into the story, the kind of mystery of the ghost girl haunting the asylum, and out for revenge. I love that whole story. And even at the end, when you get her jumping through the window, finally, like just can't take it. She just jumps through the window, you're like, oh crap. And they fade out. I'm like, okay. They fade back. Okay. Yeah. And then you're like, well, it was all in your head. I'm like, no, because it's either at the end you have her crash through the window, fall 3 stories and die. And you end up, just find out that, she did have issues, if you wanted to play that angle. But I guess for me, I enjoyed the mystery and everything. And to have that ending, it kind of ruins it for me, because then you're like, oh, that's all this was.
It's exactly how I feel.
I think that's pretty common for a lot of stuff. I was actually, Joe, you had mentioned weapons, and are we allowed to spoil other things, other movies?
Absolutely.
I mean, I already spoiled 5 movies just saying what I didn't like about the twist ending to this one. So.
Oh yeah, perfect. But I think the 2 movies that Krager made, Barbarian and Weapons. I think the journey is much more entertaining than the destination.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's pretty common. I mean, even if you take something a little bit more quote unquote mainstream, like a Fight Club or something, once you know the twist, it's kind of like, okay, you can watch the film a little differently, but you'll never have that journey again, really, because you kind of already know. But I do think there is some merit into that journey, because we take Weapons, for example, once you find out why the kids disappeared, it's really not as compelling as that hour and 30 minutes where you're like, what the hell were these kids doing? Like, obviously this is much lower stakes, much lower budget, the Ward, and it doesn't have quite the same hit that maybe a Weapons does or a Barbarian does. But I agree with you, Mark, that it is a little bit more enjoyable trying to figure it out before you actually do figure it out. Because I think in most cases, once a mystery is solved, it's kind of, there's very few that I can think of where I'm like, oh, we were talking about The Sixth Sense off camera. I think Scream still holds up even when you figure out who did it. But there's a lot of them that once it's revealed, it doesn't really hold that same power that in general, I think, for movies like this. So I'm with you.
Well, and like with a movie like this too, it's not even the fact that it gets resolved. It's how they resolved it. I think Joe's right on it. By 2010, this shtick of all being in the head and the multiple personality thing had been done so much.
It's a Fight Club ending, and it worked in Fight Club because, oh my God, I never expected it. But then when it starts happening in so many other movies, you're just like, okay, man, this is.
Well, what's fun in Fight Club when they did it is the fact of, you look at it, you go, you can watch it again and try to see the hints.
Right.
Yeah.
Then
You're watching it, and in this one you didn't really have that because this was all in her head. So you didn't even have you don't even have her interaction with like people in the real world. Basically, it's all just her with the with her personalities, and you don't really get any other perspective or anything to where you could go, oh, okay, I could see now where this is, where this one, once it's revealed, you're like, oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense why they never why you never see the police there carting away a body. You know,
Right.
that makes sense. I mean, there are certain things that are little Easter eggs, like when you're going through when they're going through the sketchbook. The character that was doing all the sketches, I don't remember her name. The sketch of Kristen is before some of the other sketches that she's done, which would indicate, okay, yeah, Kristen's always been there too. She just hasn't been since the characters have all just been in her head. She drew her when she initially saw her, and that's how she sees herself. So it makes sense then that's earlier in the sketchbook than the the portrait of Zoe, the childlike one, or whoever. But am I really going to, like, the Sixth Sense? You go back and you're like, everything the ghosts have touched are red. So, this is red. Oh, look over there, that's red. Oh, look over there, that's red. I'm never gonna go through this again looking for the clues.
or like Blade Runner, when you look for the hints of whether Harrison Ford is a replicant or not, and like stuff like that, where you can rewatch it hundreds of times and change your mind every time. This is not one of those movies.
No,
it's not.
No, I mean, and you get the ramp up in the third act here to where when they start having some of the personality disappear, the minute she goes to the room, they're already wrapped up. The bed's already wrapped up and everything, and you're like, well, that was a bit quick.
Mm-hmm.
You're like sitting here going, okay, and I guess for me, I think that's where the twist just kind of ruined it, because I was digging the supernatural story, and I'm like, it's John, and it almost makes you wonder with the Carpenter name on it, that was part of your leading red herring is, oh, we're going to put Carpenter's name on it, and then we're going to give you a 80-minute story worth of supernatural mystery, and rug pull, last 10 minutes. Nah, it's not a supernatural mystery.
Well, and that's I think that is a trend that's continued for a while, because I think and I'll bring up Weapons again, where there's supernatural elements that aren't explained, and it adds to that mystery. But I think a lot of horror films, maybe because of what we were talking about, I can't remember if we were talking about it when it was live or not, that whole idea of being horror versus thriller or whatever, that inability to commit to maybe a genre because of how it would be looked at. I do agree. It kind of feels like a cop out a little bit, because it's like, hey, you've got a supernatural element, but you're not willing to stick with it. So
we don't even have a mystery by the end of it, because none of this ever happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what bothers me most about that ending is you just made everything that I just invested time in not matter. Right. As for Weapons, one of the things that I find interesting about it, and I've not seen anybody talk about this, it's a Val Lewton, I walked with a zombie style bug-eyed voodoo zombie movie, and nobody talks about that. And Zach Krieger's kind of brought that back into vogue, where it hasn't been for 60 years now. So ever since Romero made Night of the Living Dead, it's been the toxic environmental zombie, the flesh-eating zombie. And I mean, there's so many parts of Weapons that because you do have the sick relative who's being kept intentionally, the relatives being kept intentionally sick. The zombies are all done via voodoo. They have the big bug eyes. So if it makes people look back on some of these pre-Romero zombie movies, I'll be cool with that, because it's everything old is new again, because it's just been out of the zeitgeist for so long that.
Well, I mean, I didn't think about that. So that's a great point. I was thinking it was more like, I mean, I'll just be honest with you. I thought she was more of like a witch, not like a witch doctor, like a voodoo witch doctor, but more of just
witch. Yeah.
Witch. But that's a really interesting point. I never even thought about that, like the voodoo angle.
I'm amazed nobody's brought it up.
It was big for a very short time. in the 80s because they tried to bring it back. Because one of my favorite films still of Craven's is Serpent and the Rainbow.
Oh yeah,
Which is still, I watched it again last year. It still packs a punch.
That film is still disturbing as hell. It is so good and it holds up so well. But that was Voodoo Zombies. You know, you had to deal with Angel Heart, if you remember how.
I have to rewatch that. That's been a long time for me.
Angel Heart involved voodoo. It also involved the devil, but that also involved, voodoo angle. So I mean,
Chucky's body was put into a doll by
Chucky's body was put into a doll. So I mean, you did have that for a while, that trend, but it still always fell back to your flesh-eating zombies. And in here, with The Ward, I would have been perfectly fine with just a supernatural mystery horror film. I didn't need the only thing, though, watching it this time made me wonder if it wasn't Carpenter helping if this isn't almost more of an exploration into the poor medical system that we have, and especially the 50s, the treatment of the mentally ill statement that they were trying to address in here, possibly. So while, yeah, it is a Carpenter film, we've got the supernatural elements. They do focus a lot on how they were treated by the doctor, the shock treatment, the meds, how they were not, taken serious. I mean, there's a number of exploration things into how our mental health care really is lacking, and especially in the 50s or whatever, showing you just how kind of sadistic it was back in.
I mean, there is, I guess, it should be another hint that this isn't real, because when you have Kristen get the shock treatment, and she's being put in her bed, you have the orderly saying, "I didn't even know they still did shock treatment," and the second orderly goes, "Yeah, they should just do it to all of them. They're all crazy." But I'm like, oh yeah, they say they don't do this anymore. So that should be another hint that, because this hospital's not going to get away with it if they did that, if they're still actually doing shock treatment to somebody in, I think it's said it's 1966.
Yeah.
I don't know how long, or what happens in the beginning, the burning down of the farmhouse, is in 1966. So I don't know what the passage of time is here. Clearly Alice has been there for a while.
She was committed in 58, I believe they drop at some point, but then she escaped, and that's the burning of the house, I think. It's hard to say, or she burnt the house first. It's hard to say the years, but they mention it in there.
I think she was abducted in 58.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's right. You're right. She was abducted in 50. Yeah. She was abused horribly in the basement for 3 months. I forgot what it was, how long, but
I think it was a couple of months. I think it was
3 months or something like that, and that's when she first had her break. And then she ends up setting fire to the house later, and because that was the house where she was abused at the time, which, again, I'm not sure how I feel about that, because that's also a trope that had been used many times already by this point in 2010, of the physically, sexually abused child fracturing their personality into all the different personalities. And I understand it's a real thing, but at this point with The Ward, again, it had been done. It was
and that's the thing. Carpenter's usually the one that sets the trend.
Right.
And in this case, he's coming in at the very tail end of a lot of these tropes. The only mid 2000s trope that this didn't have, or did it? Did I? did it and I forgot it, would be a character being on the ground, looking dead in the camera, and then being dragged away. That's the only one that wasn't in there, because that's in everything else. In the
No,
2000s.
we did have a character being dragged away. We didn't have a character, I think, looking dead at the camera, but there is a character being dragged away at some point.
Which I think started with Wreck. I think that's where that happened.
Yeah.
I think people went, holy shit, that looks creepy. So every movie after Wreck had that for a while. And it's like, oh my God, the nails are on the ground and all that. Thankfully, it didn't do that. But
one of the things I think he does do effectively without actually showing anything or having it do anything is with our orderly. Our orderly is creepy. Like the orderly guy's a creep, but not like fully, but it just the unusual vibe with that character, which it makes
orderlies never get a good break in anything.
At the end here, he's revealed to actually be a really good guy. He rebuilt her bracelet and all that. So in this movie, he does turn out to be a decent guy.
True. Yeah.
But I also feel like, and again, maybe another hint, because you have what's the seductress side of her personality?
I think
it's Panabaker's character,
right? Sarah.
Yeah, she's in the bathroom when he's putting the thing back up, and that's where it's revealed that she's been trying to seduce him. She's been trying to get him to come out and sleep with her, and he's like, I don't think you understand. I am never going to date you ever. And I'm like, that seems out of. When he first gets in the elevator with Kristen in the beginning, he does come off kind of creepy, and then later on, with the Sarah version, with the Sarah portion of her character, he straight up says, "No, I have no interest in sleeping with you."
Yeah,
I don't know. It feels like after that opening, or the first time we meet him, to that it feels like it's inconsistent, and then at the end it's revealed, oh, okay, he actually was a really good guy this entire time.
Right.
Maybe he was just tired of all these different personalities. And again, I ask, where's anyone else in this hospital?
True. That's true.
Because he's not busy with anybody else.
Well, what I'm really impressed with is I was doing a little research onto this movie, but apparently where this was filmed was a active mental facility, and they had to and this might explain why it feels so empty and only in a few places, but it was an actual mental asylum, and they had to bar off the real patients so they wouldn't be in the film at all. But they were all really there at the time, but it was a real mental hospital. So I'm sure it's a lot.
They couldn't bring in extras, I guess, in that point.
I don't know why. Maybe it's like a HIPAA thing, or they don't have the judgment to sign their authorization for their release or whatever.
Well, I wasn't suggesting that they use the actual inmates as extras. I mean, I guess maybe because if it is that it was actually still an active hospital, maybe that explains why they didn't have oh yeah, we're gonna need hey, central casting, cast us 15 extras for Tuesday, because they didn't want a bunch of people walking around the still active mental hospital. So that makes sense. But in that case, why film there?
Right. I agree. Yeah,
there's plenty of mental hospitals that are still structurally in existence that are no longer used.
Oh yeah, I mean that. I never really watched the show, but that show Scrubs was that was like a real hospital. They didn't use it anymore, so they were able to use the entire hospital as a set because it was.
Yeah, it's odd that they would have used an active. They must have got a really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably really cheap. That's got to be it because
they got a good deal on it. That's the only thing I could think of is that.
That's the first thing. It's one of the first things that I learned. Even producing my student films is I had Tony Travis, who he's in Hitch. He played Dr. Flexi Jerkoff in Flesh Gordon and the Cosmic Cheerleaders, which I always love joking with him about. But I remember him telling me, because he produced Tony and Tina's Wedding, the movie, and he produced a whole bunch of movies. And I remember him telling me when I was making my student films, he goes, nothing is going to make your film look cheaper than there being nobody around at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, that's how hey, look, you cast this person who lives 10 blocks away. why can't their mom and dad be in the background of this bar scene? And he was the one who kind of instilled that in me, that, the first thing that you do when you have a low budget is you don't have people. It is so sparsely populated. And this movie, and it's where it falls apart too, because if the only character in this movie is Alice Hudson, and the rest are all portions of her personality, then there's nobody in this hospital but her. We see a couple people. We see the one guy laying in a bed when she goes through the grates and comes out. You'll see like a couple people at the entranceway. The waiting area is always empty. Like, there's nobody ever there. There's just the one security guard. But why is he there? There's nobody coming in. There's nobody even trying to come in. So it makes it feel. The twist makes all of this feel even more pointless. Like, how much, like, they're keeping this whole facility open for one patient is how it feels.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's like you said, when you there's some horror movies when you really get down to thinking about it doesn't make sense, so you try not to, too much.
I was gonna say, in this one, that's one of those to where you start thinking too much of it, and it just starts falling apart. it just really, you're just like, wow, that doesn't.
Carpenter has done this in the past, and he's done it effectively, like Assault on Precinct 13. Why is this police precinct that's under siege? Why is it so sparsely populated? Because they're moving to another building. This is their last night in this building, so they have a skeleton crew here. So that makes sense. There's no explanation for why this whole hospital is open only for Alice Hudson.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough sell for you. For the fact that this is a wide released film. If this was like a direct to video, it'd probably be just like, oh, okay. But this one got theatrical release. It's got some names in it. Especially for the time, and there is effort in here. I mean, Carpenter, you could tell he's putting effort into it, but you could tell also he's not working with his script.
It's funny that you say that, because the exact comment that I wrote on Letterboxd about this was, if you told me this is a generic made for DVD indie by a first time director, I'd say it's a solid effort.
Sure,
but you don't expect seeing a film like this from a seasoned director, let alone a legend like Carpenter.
Well, and apparently, according to some other things that I read early on about this movie, is that he didn't do the music for it because he said he was too old to do the music.
Now all he's doing is music.
But he did the Lost themes. He did 3 albums worth of Lost themes.
He did the entire score for the recent Halloween trilogy.
He is on record as saying, that the reason why he didn't even make a film for 9 years is because he kind of fell out of love with cinematic storytelling. And I would assume, part of that is because such a massive part of what makes a Carpenter film is the music that he puts into it as well. I can imagine that, he was probably, I'm just guessing here. He was probably talked into making this, and be like, hey, we need to get another John Carpenter movie out there. And he was like, yeah, it's fine, I'll do it, but like, I'm not going to commit.
I'm not going to put any effort in.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to accuse him of that, but he is the same kind of guy that's just like, that'll say, like, whenever there was a Halloween sequel, he would just be like, yeah, I'll take the check, thank you, and then I'll play video games, so it's not like
he's on record saying that too.
Yeah. So
I just hold out my hand and a check falls in it.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think like he's totally against. I don't want to say he didn't put any effort into it, but I can imagine if it's like, hey, I'm not going to write it, I'm not going to do the music, I'll direct it. Great.
Show up.
He's not the type of the director that I would say he completely phoned it in, but I don't think this is one of those, as we've mentioned, to where it didn't feel like he kind of went out of his way to be John Carpenter in this. It was like, yeah, I'll make the film, and he makes the film, and it's one of those to where, yeah, he's going to put in the effort, but it's not like, as we mentioned, his other films, Precinct 13 and They Live and other, where you look at those, you're like, oh man, he's like every frame and everything is just, it's Carpenter, the characters, the blue collar characters, everything. And in this one, it's like very flat.
Even still, this is still better than a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
Even if this is Carpenter at no effort, it's still better than a lot of stuff.
Well, and that's what I say a lot about like Spielberg when he went through that mid period, is that like, he's still going to give you some incredible, effort. It's just not going to really have that oomph to it that it used to, So yeah, I think this is the same case here. And also I think it doesn't help that he hasn't made a movie since.
Right.
Like, I think because now we're 15 years since this was made. So I mean, we are kind of under the assumption. I know that he do any directing on that TV.
He directed, I think, one episode of Suburban Screams, and I started watching the series. I'm like, this is fucking boring. Is there anything actually directed by Carpenter in this? I went to that I think the last episode is directed by Carpenter, and I went to watch it. I'm like, this is terrible.
Okay, but
he directed it via Zoom. So there's that.
He's playing Call of Duty while he's directing it. So.
Probably, yeah. He's probably just playing a video game while he's directing this movie or this episode.
So I think that doesn't help either, because if he maybe made a couple more films and either they declined in quality or they had some more Carpenter touches, but as it stands right now, 2025, this is the last Carpenter film. So it kind of emphasizes I'm not going to say mediocrity of it, but the meh-ness of it.
He got out before he ended up making like a string of really terrible films like Dario Argento did. Like Argento had a long list, and then Dracula 3D came out, and that was just like, bro, retire.
Yeah,
and then he's made Dark Glasses. Dark Glasses is pretty good.
Last couple films, people are like, those are not Hitchcock films, So it happens, So I guess there is a good part that he didn't go out on the Love Guru or something.
Wes Craven like went on like a little streak there where he had like Cursed, which was really bad. Scream 3 was really bad. And I think what happened with Craven was he tried to use the success of Scream to kind of go into like making like mainstream legitimate movies like Music from the Heart, and then when that got panned, I think that just broke his heart. I think that's what happened to Craven at the end.
That's always been my take on Scream 4, because if you watch Scream 4, which is his last film, it's a very mean movie. Like it's very it's very the first three, no matter what you think of any of the first three, they still have a charm to them. Scream 4 is very much a very nasty movie.
It's an angry movie. He's
very angry. And I think like that was him saying like, because he tried to do right before that, he tried to do that one.
My Soul to Take.
Yeah. I think he had some good ideas in that, but it just did not deliver.
The execution of that was awful.
Yeah. So I think when they were like, hey dude, we'll make Scream 4. You can have as much money as you want and make Scream 4 and it'll be a hit. He was like, yeah, okay. But then I think he kind of let his frustrations out with that one. He was just like, I'm not going to make your little cute, like, because there's some pretty brutal stuff in that one. So,
well, I think he wanted to end it with 3, because if you look at 3's a comedy. I mean, 3 is just straight up him making fun of the exact genre he brought back. If you look at 3,
and it has the worst, my least favorite trope in anything, which is I was there the whole time, even though there is no evidence whatsoever in the previous 2 that I was there at all. Like in terms of the killer, in that one, the director, right? Roman. And he was the one who masterminded the first 2 Screams. It's like when there was no clue of that whatsoever, like no hints of that at all. So
I don't know. Maybe it is something where like a director just gets tired.
Well, I know
creatively, I'm spent now. Like even I haven't seen what is it, Juror Number 5? I think is the most recent Eastwood movie. Cry Macho. I was watching this. Like it feels like feels like Eastwood's just going through the motions. This
Absolutely.
felt like Carpenter just going through the motions. My Soul to Take felt like Craven just going through the motions.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and Carpenter does it. He's not known to mince words, and I have seen later interviews where he's talked about, how he fell out of filmmaking. He wanted to do music. That's why he did his Lost Themes albums, which are great. These are like, I mean, they're all 3 albums are just fantastic, but you can tell that's where his love still is. I've seen some people, good luck trying to get an interview with Carpenter. And if you do get an interview with Carpenter, prepare yourself, because he's given some brutal answers to stuff to where he's like, you know, and you can tell with The Ward, especially, it's one of those where he's making a movie, but that spark just isn't quite there anymore.
100%. And I think what Joe was saying, that's a great thing in a way.
Yeah.
Because so many that we just mentioned have faded away into not only just obscurity, but like just, you know, terrible, you know.
Yeah, he never got to that low level.
Right.
I think I think once he realized I don't have a passion for this anymore, he stopped.
Yeah.
And I think he just went, you know what? I have an entire Brinks truck worth of money in my bank. I don't ever need to work again if I don't have to. And on top of that, every time a Halloween movie comes out, he has to get paid. Every time somebody uses the Halloween theme in something, he has to get paid. I think he just realized, you know what, man, I'm done. I've said what I need to say as a filmmaker, as an artist.
Well, and the business,
play video games and chain smoke.
And if you look at it, I mean, when he first got into film to where his last film ended in 2010, the film business itself changed drastically over those 3 decades.
And it's changed drastically since.
And some of those classic filmmakers, those guys who we fell in love with in the 80s, don't want to deal with the new bullshit that's out there now. So it's like,
when you hear things like David Cronenberg and Steven Spielberg can't get funding for their next movie.
Yeah, it's true.
Because it's gotten to the point where it's the art is lost and it's all commerce now. Like that's everything.
Well, and I went and saw Cronenberg's The Ruins in the theater. Mm-hmm. And I was in there with about, 12 people. You know, it was like the opening weekend. And they don't even know, like, audiences, and I'm not trying to shit on other audiences, say I'm some kind of special viewer or something, but like everyone in the theater was laughing at it. Mm-hmm. And even like people were coming out and going like, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. And this lady that was cleaning up the theater, she says, was it that bad? I said, no, this is actually a really good movie. It's just people don't know how to like appreciate like a signature voice like Cronenberg's, you know, that has this ability to challenge concepts and ideas and themes that we don't really think about, you know. And I don't even think audiences know how to do that in general anymore, how to approach it unless it has everything explained to them or all the mystery is gone, because they need that. And that's kind of the sad state of the industry, I think, in a way. I'm not against mainstream stuff. I mean, Mark can tell you I'm a Marvel guy through and through, you know, but you're right. There doesn't seem to be room anymore for the Carpenters or the Cronenbergs or any of these guys anymore.
You do get somebody who has that singular voice, they end up being the person who directs the next Marvel movie that has none of that voice in it, and it's right. Frustrating.
Well,
that was an example.
Another one I think you could use as an example is what's his name, Jason Reitman, because he did a couple of like indies, pseudo indie, mid-major studio films, very unique, like young adult, and he did Juno, right? I think, right? And
yeah.
And then he just was like, well, I'm going to do Ghostbuster movies for the rest of my life. And you're like, well, I mean, it was serviceable. I hated Afterlife personally, but it was serviceable. I mean, obviously he can direct a movie, but it didn't have any of that name value to it. Just didn't. It got lost.
Look, even what happened to Raimi. You know, you look at Raimi, he picked up he did so well. They like, hey, you want to do Spider-Man? And he's like, yeah, you know, and his first Spider-Man was okay. Spider-Man 2 is still one of the best superhero films out there. I would say,
clears, but we won't get into that. But
what?
Spider-Man 1 and 3 clear too, in my opinion, but we won't get into that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is
I don't
3?
think I've ever heard anybody say Spider-Man 3 is better than 2.
3 is better than
I honestly think 3 is better than 2. 2 is my least favorite of the 3, but that's
wow.
That's
a hot
We're
take.
gonna have to do Spider-Man 2 at some point in the next year and have him back on.
But I guess my point with that though is you look at that, and then it took him doing, was it Take Me to Hell?
Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell. To where people like, oh, Raimi's back, because he got into that.
Yeah.
You know, he got pulled into the comic book movie, the big blockbuster type movie. And yeah, he could do it, but at the same time, that identity got lost. That's why I love In the Mouth of Madness, a Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I was just going to say that is the example of what I was talking about with Cronenberg. I think Multiverse of Madness, despite it being a huge budget Marvel film, is very much a Raimi film.
It's an Evil Dead movie.
It's totally an Evil Dead movie.
Exactly. But when you saw it, even though it made, I think it was like 3 million short of $1 billion, people would say, well, that was stupid. That was weird. And it's like, no, that is the artist. That's the artist putting his name on it. Like,
people don't appreciate weird. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and if there's one property that you could give some licensing to being weird, it's going to be the Doctor Strange series for sure. I mean, my dad read Doctor Strange and all that, you know. So when I had heard that they gave Sam Raimi a Doctor Strange movie, I was all in. And when I watched it, I was giggling like a schoolgirl at the end of it, and it was great because Marvel, that this is post Endgame, so Marvel was very hit or miss, but people were interested because of Cumberbatch, and so they come in, and one of the best lines that just made me chuckle so beautifully was, I overheard someone walking by going, "Wow, I didn't expect it to be that campy." And I'm just like, hell yeah. I'm like somebody at Marvel who probably doesn't work there anymore was like, sure, Raimi, you can have artistic control over the movie. Yeah, go for it.
Just Kevin Feige, because Feige was Raimi's assistant, I think, on the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, he was.
So yeah, Feige just was like, "No, dude, Sam, do your thing." I mean, Raimi. Even when you watch his Western, The Quick and the Dead. Even when you watch
that's Raimi.
It's a Raimi movie.
It's a Raimi
movie. And I think that's ultimately what I feel like is missing from the war. Is it has none of Carpenter's personality.
True, very true.
It feels like like if this was a direct-to-video, horror movie that I rented in the VHS days in like the mid 90s. It feels like a direct-to-video movie from the 90s in a lot of ways. It
does, yeah.
Well, and it has that. The reason why I kind of like it is because like I said, it has that. And if you guys haven't seen Robert Rodriguez's Hypnotic, it's got Ben Affleck, and it's just, I mean, I don't even know how it's not released in the theaters, but like it has that 90s Showtime late at night. Like some of my favorite memories are like, just staying up late on a Saturday and Outer Limits is on Showtime, and it looks terrible, but it also looks great, and it's just has that feel to it, and that's why I kind of like The Ward a little bit.
I think The Ward also kind of looks like it was shot on like the short ends at like at the end of the film cans, and I think that it makes it look unique in that way. I don't know if it was shot on digital or if it was shot on film. I'm assuming.
Well, it's his only film apparently besides Dark Star that was not shot on
35.
35. Yeah.
So what was it shot on?
I couldn't find it, but in 2010, it could be digital.
Yeah. Could be.
It might be digital by then. I couldn't find what it was actually shot on. So
I didn't see anything when I didn't look for it, but
there wasn't a whole lot on this film for probably reasons. So
yeah, the DVD that I have, I bought it on a 4-pack with like a bunch of other random low budget horror movies, so it doesn't even have like a commentary that I could have put on.
Mm.
There's
I
nothing.
watched it on YouTube when I watched it because it's for free on there.
Is it on YouTube?
There's like 7 different like versions. I'm not versions, but you can find it.
Streaming channel. Yeah, it's on Plex as well. The normal like Plex, you could actually watch it there if you want. It'd have ads, but you can watch it there too. So I think we'll wrap up the ward. I think this has been
the last 10 minutes talking about anything but it.
Well, no, it's been a wonderful conversation. Well, it's because, as we mentioned, there's not a huge amount to it. It's a pretty by the numbers film. It's got a twist that kind of robs the rest of the film that you watch, but in the end, it's really hard to see Carpenter in this, and you can see why it may have some of the reputation it does. We'll go around the room with your final thought on it. First, Joe, with the ward, your final thought. Is watchable?
Yeah, the ending ruins it for me, but I found myself being sucked back in last night and actually enjoying it. So yeah, I've seen worse Carpenter movies. Like Carpenter, when he really doesn't want to do something, like Village of the Damned, it's still fine, but it's just not, just not like on the level. Like even if you gave me the 95 Village of the Damned tomorrow to watch versus, I don't know, some other. What's that?
I like Village of the Damned.
I don't hate it. It's another one of those movies where I'm like, it's clear that John Carpenter didn't want to do this. And I think the story is Universal told him, you still owe us one movie. And you have to present it to us by this time. And Carpenter's like, all right, what do you got? We have this script for Village of the Damned. Yeah, I'll take that.
Nice.
And I think ultimately that's what this movie suffers from, is it feels like it's just Carpenter going, yeah, all right, what the hell? I'll do your movie. It's not something where Carpenter's like, oh my God, I'm really excited to make this movie.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to give two shits about anything in this movie. So it's a very by the numbers horror thriller up until the very end, where you find out everything you just watched happen didn't actually happen. It's enjoyable up until that point.
Yeah. And Will, what about you? Your final thought with it?
I'll say something really quick because I don't know if my computer is going to last, but I would say, like, if it is his swan song as a director, it could have been worse. And I don't.
Oh yeah.
So I'm okay with it. It's definitely, if you're a completist and you want to finish his filmography, it's not like, something so terrible that you have to just gut your way through it. It's serviceable. It's fine. It's kind of it's not the greatest way for a legend to end his career, but it, like I said, could have been worse.
It could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse. Yeah. And I mirror all you guys. It's fine. It's a good watch. It's not a bad spooky season watch. I didn't care for the ending, but everything else, the performance of this young cast at the time that they were there is very talented. I love the dance scene that they have in here. It's actually a lot of fun. And there's fun moments in here. I really, though, even with the hook ending, the fact we get a cliffhanger ending of a sequel kind of stinger at the end was like, why?
He was never getting a sequel.
I'm like, why are you even doing that? So thank you to my panel. Thank you to all the folks who tuned in tonight. And now License to Shill really quick for my panel. Go ahead, Will. You are first, sir. The License to Shill is yours. Shill away.
Yeah, please join me and my buddy, my cinephile buddy, Don Shanahan on Cinephile Hizzy Fit. It's you can get on Spotify, iTunes, wherever. Along with Mark, right? We were both nominated, right?
We were both nominated for the Astra Podcast Awards.
Well,
yes.
congratulations.
Yes, we got an Astra Podcast Award nomination. We're really proud of that, and we're glad to be there with Mark as well as a nominee. If he wins, I'll be really jealous, and I probably won't talk to him again. But no, check us out, Cinephile Hizzy Fit. We really love it. We're about 220 episodes in, and we're going strong, and we love it. So please check us out.
Definitely check that out. And Joe, you got anything to push?
Well, oddly enough, I somehow lucked into getting paid to do notes for Joe Bob Briggs in this upcoming episode on Wednesday night, where I got to I got to cover A Nightmare on Elm Street for them. So
that's the AMC one, right?
Yeah, that's airing on AMC. I think I don't know if AMC starts at 8:00 everywhere or if it's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern, so 7 Central. I guess look, but yeah, the Last Drive-In's AMC Fear Fest special, where we're showing A Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy versus Jason.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, that was kind of like a dream come true. Like you could work on something like that. So I'll be watching. I wasn't there for the shoot, so I don't know what was said. I do have an interest in seeing how Joe Bob talks about these movies. So yeah, and then on the 24th, we will have our Halloween special, and possibly this Friday night I might be with Mark actually, so that I could throw to him for this. I still do not know for sure that I'll be there.
Oh, okay. No, that's okay. That's all right. If you guys can make it, that'd be awesome. And yes, my final shill is the Sawdust City Fright Fest is this weekend coming up, the second weekend in October, 10th and 11th. We are doing our 5th annual Sawdust City Fright Fest. Friday night, we are showing a concept trailer that's Wisconsin produced and made, and we're showing the Giant Spider Invasion. Director Bill Rebane is scheduled to attend, and as far as I know, he's working hard to try to make that happen. So hopefully he can be there. But yes, we're doing the Giant Spider Invasion, and then all day Saturday, 2 blocks of shorts and a feature, all in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, at the beautiful Historic Time Theater, Sawdust City Fright Fest. It's all for money to raise for the Time Theater, which is a great theater that's supported indie films for many years. So yeah, that's what I'm mainly shilling, folks. So thank you so much for listening. And until next time, we'll just say a good night, everyone.